What's up, people? We're back with part number 2. So where were we getting off? Right. So where did we start? Where did we leave off? Right. So um, like I said in my what was it? What was it? It was a video on energy, right? It was a video on energy vampires, right? Part 2. That there's, I would say, 36 different type of personalities, and some of us get along, some of us don't, and if we don't, then just walk away. But then any true energy vampires are people that don't allow people to try to walk away. But other than that, if just walk away. It's okay if me and you don't get along. It's okay if my next door neighbor could even be a racist. But as long as we respect each other, then that's fine. And that's what it boils down to. As long as we respect each other. So in regards to the whole kind of one child, like when they said with the children, and it wasn't a case where. It wasn't a case where because you're a younger child, you're most likely to be, um, a bit selfish or a bit narcissistic or this or that. That wasn't the case. It was just we're just saying what it was saying was that children that are more this belongs to me and I don't want to share are more likely to be successful as opposed to those who are always protecting the protectors, those that have more empathy. That's what the program was trying to say. Okay. Um, right, what was I saying? Okay. And what was it? Right. So yeah, so um, whichever personality you are, you should always keep fighting anyway. Keep fighting. And if you are the personality that's caring in this and that, you could be in a world where people are trying to beat you down because of it, you know. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't feel bad about that. You should feel joyous over it. And this is why I created the whole perfection philosophy in the first place, is because, and this is why you hear me say harsh words like bum, sellout, and all these kind of terms, is because you know I praise good people. I'm for good people, and when I have these kind of people around me, I'm protecting them, and I'm not letting anyone come. When I'm there, I'm not allowing anyone to harm these people, because these people, and I think I said it in one of my videos about smiling video. I think the power of a smile or the power of positivity, or may not even been that video. It might have been another video done. That they're like a beacon of light. In a room full of darkness, they are the light. They are the torches that light up that room. And if you destroy them, then we're all dark. Then the world becomes a very scary place. It's those kind of people that keep it alight. But regardless of who you are, whether you are, if your role is to be that narcissistic guy, that is to be that leader, and it's not a bad thing as well. It's not a bad thing, because at the end of the day, someone has to make tough decisions. You can't always sit on the fence. Sometimes you've got to make that tough decision. It has to be done. If the person's too nice and they don't want to do it, then who else is going to do it? So those people shouldn't be beating themselves up when they have to make that tough decision, because at the end of the day, no one else is making it. What we're going to do is what did they say, sit down twiddling our thumbs or something? Sit down twiddling our thumbs. That's not going to solve the problem. Someone has to stand up and do it. So those kind of people shouldn't be too harsh on themselves either. Okay, we all have our role in this world and we all fit in. But in regards to me dampening people's spirits, or if my videos have come across that way, that's not the case. I'm a fighter. I said to people in one of my videos that I think it was even the education out video, that I was about to become a sports massage therapist, and that's what I was doing. I said, I'm not just sitting around here. I'm going to study to become a sports massage therapist. I'm already a personal trainer, and that's exactly what I did. I am a qualified sports massage therapist now. Have been since February the 14th or something like that. Now I have other goals and things like that. But right, so what I want to get into in this video is I want to get into, because I said in my 2018 video, the making of a decent man, right? That all of my videos collectively are trying to make you into a decent man or into a decent woman. I think the first thing I want to start off with is learn to appreciate things. And I want to mention two stories, and the first story is I had a friend one time ring me up because because his I'll just say that let's just say that say he was stranded. He rang me up because he was stranded. So I'm not going to go into the story or the full details of the story. Rang me up because he's stranded. Said, listen, Luke, can you come and help me out because I'm stranded on the road? I said, no problem. You know, jumped into my car. Within 10 minutes, I was there. Okay, no long things, no waiting around. I was there. He said, you got the jump leads? I said, yep. Brought the jump leads out. He said, right, I need you to blah 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 do something with my car. Okay, could you do almost like lift the bonnet or whatever? But he said something like mechanical jargon, so I didn't understand it. And I was like, what? And he goes, like he might say, lift the bonnet, you effing idiot, you fool. And he's not only there by himself, his sister was there and his sister's boyfriend was there. And I lifted the bonnet of the car, whatever, and I got out, and I remember looking into his sister's face, and his sister started laughing, but it was a nervous laugh, okay? But I remember thinking to myself, well, okay. So anyway, spent about 5 minutes, 10 more minutes, him trying to get he said, turn your engine on. I did. Couldn't jump start his car, whatever. When I went home, person's name, scratched off the list. You're not going to hear me calling them again. If I have a party, I'm not inviting them to it. If they have a party and they invite me, done, scrapped off, done. Number one thing, before we get into, you know, what is a decent woman or man, always learn to appreciate things, you know. I have a friend, and I mentioned her in George Floyd, White Supremacy, What is White Privilege video number 1, that is quite wealthy. But most respectful, you know, person you never meet. Thank you, please. You know, she probably says it more than she needs to. It's as simple as that, and that's how it should be. You know, me, I let people know even the most smallest things. Please and thank you. Okay. I think sometimes if you don't ask someone for something, no, and they go out and buy it, and they'll go out and do something that you didn't ask for, you should actually say, oh, thank you. Still say thank you, but you should say, oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. But to be honest with you, I did say I didn't really want this, you know. Because if you don't, then what it means is that some people will try to kind of force favors from you. You know, for example, they may come around your house and they may see a broken light or whatever, and they say, I'll repair that. And you say, don't worry, I'll do that myself. And then the next day they come around with tools and they've repaired it, and you're like, oh, thank you. And then a week later they're knocking on your door and they're like, you know, I did do your light for you, know, so I need you to do a little problem. Think you can lend me like £50 or whatever. So it's always good to thank them, but let them know, you know what, oh, thanks, but you know what, I just told you I didn't really need you to do this, you know, to be honest with you. And let them know that, you know, so you don't have to smile when you say either. You can say, oh, thanks, I appreciate that, I do appreciate it, but, you know, to be honest with you, you didn't need to do that, you know. I did actually say I was going to get someone around to do it, but thank you anyway. But yeah, but generally, you know, please and thank you for even small things. That goes a hell of a long way, because if she can do it and she's really wealthy, then when I'm seeing people struggling in life, like my brother's struggling in life, and you know, the system doesn't want to offer them a job, and they're going through problems with friends and family and this and that, and they come around my house and I might give them something to eat, and they're chewing the food, and they're like, you know, I don't really like this food, you know, and all that kind of stuff. I feel sorry for them, because you know, they fail to appreciate certain things, and that's something I want to talk about as well. I want to talk about broken people. So I want to move on to my next example. I believe that some of us, especially as black people, are broken, and I talked about this in my energy vampire video, and I said that, you know, the best way to spot an energy vampire is just sit back in a room, have a good time, and just have your stopwatch on. So stopwatch on now. So James has arrived. He's just gone into the toilet. I'm going to put my stopwatch on for 20 minutes now. Let's see what happens. And what will generally happen is you'll be having a normal conversation and this or that. And it's not the fact that James will talk about something negative. That we all talk about negative. I want people to understand this. You talking about something negative isn't a bad thing. It's not about that. What I said to people in the energy vampire video is that watch the mood of the room change. So something will happen where it's not so much talking about negativity. I could say, oh man, did you hear there's a new killing, you know, there's this other black guy got stabbed online or this or that. That's a negative thing, but it's more than that. It will be something that will disrupt the aura in the room. So it might be I might say yeah man, something happened the other day, and yeah, there was a new killing the other day, you know, and you know what happened, yeah, you know what happened, mate, yeah, the cops killed this man, innit, yeah, kill this man, bruv, you know what I mean, kill him, bruv. And what happens is people may suddenly, you know, what's going on, it's disrupted it because it's too extreme, or they may come up to someone and say, oh, that's a nice shoes you got there, mate, looks like a, yeah, where do you get those from, Poundland? And it will be something to disrupt the aura of the room. Other races do it, but I find with a lot of black people, especially who've been raised in homes and how a lot of us only have like single parents, I've seen it coming from more black people than what I have anyone else. Okay, I never forget when I met this. I was telling people about. I think I said it in one of my videos, but I'll say it again. I just met a particular black girl anyway, and I was chatting to her, and she said to me, we were having normal conversations, and I think at the time she said she liked me, and we're having a conversation. She was talking about kids. In fact, she talked about kids more than once, actually, more than one occasion. And she's saying our kids were running rampant and things like that. And I heard it so many times. I said to her, you know, well, you know, you got to discipline them a little bit more, you know, and get on some. Just said it in general voice again, just general conversation. And then I'm over side now. I think it was a text message. I don't think I was talking to her over the phone. The text came back and text came back and said, "What do you know about my? Don't talk about my kids, yeah. Don't ever talk about my kids, yeah. You fool." And I was like, "What? Wow." So I had to look back at my text and say, "Did I say anything harsh there?" I said, "Okay, all right. I won't talk about you." I said, text back and saying, "All right, okay. I won't go there with your children." She goes, "No, not my children. Anyone's children, yeah. You don't question a parent about their kids, yeah, and all of that." And I was like, Ross. So the point I'm making was, again, she was broken because she could have handled it another way. She could have handled it in a way where she said, you know what, look, to be honest with you, yeah, I know I'm talking about my kids and everything else, but I don't really need your advice, okay, to be honest with you, but thanks anyway. I would appreciate that. But the whole change, and if I was in person, that's how she probably would have been behaving, because she was a little bit like that anyway. But if the system, if some of our people are broken in that way, it's up to you to kind of self-reflect on that, you know, and because you may not have had positive role models in your life, which brings me to the next point. You may not have had those positive role models in your life, so you're going through it and no one's really giving you the time of day to sit you down and tell you these things. With that particular girl, I didn't tell her instantly, but I did sit her down and say, you know what, I said, you're a really nice girl, but you've got to learn how to deal with things better, because that kind of attitude there would just totally put me off. And then I remember her encountering, I remember her being around a white guy, and he must have told her a joke, an offensive joke, a joke that I know if I would have told it wouldn't have been offensive, and she was just smiling it off. And it was like, so you're doing this really towards your own people, you're taking this kind of anger out on your own people, you know. So it's about reflecting and understanding, you know, there's something wrong with me, why am I responding this way, and where's it all coming from? But when I was young, I did used to watch some movies, and I'm going to go through some of them, because some of us aren't raised as role models. We're not, and that's why we're so damaged. And it can almost be like in a hole. Like in counselling, we use the term, "Are you in a hole?" You're stuck in a hole, and hole means that you just don't know how to get out of it. You continuously doing it. This seems to be a reoccurring thing. Which is, I mean, it's good that, and I said this to her as well. I said, look, it's good. I like that anger. I said it. I wasn't all negative with the girl. I said, look, you're a strong black woman. You're strong, and you're not taking no nonsense from anyone. I like that. I like that. That's a good thing. I said it's not a bad thing, because you go, it's me alone and my two kids, and this is sometimes why I'm like that, because I have to be strong in it. I said, I like that and understand that, and I understand that 100%. I do like that. You're a strong black woman. I said, but sometimes you're going a little bit OTT with certain things, and that from a distance can kind of put people off. I've also, I'll give you another example. I saw an old friend that I knew from school walk along the road near my house. And I remember us chatting and everything else. Just briefly, he's asking me how I was doing, I was asking how he was doing. Now, we'll walk along the road talking for about 3 minutes. So, the next thing that came into my mind, which is standard, was I said to him, yeah, so how you doing, man? What, you got a family now? You got your family now? You got kids now? And he turned, and suddenly now he's changed, he switched, he went, psst, don't chat about man's family, yeah? Don't chat about man's family. So, and I'm walking along the road with him, and suddenly we're two different forces. It's like, it's almost like I was walking along the road with my enemy. I remember I was saying to you about the energy vampire, that if he was in a room and he said something like that, it would change. The whole atmosphere of the room would change, because people would sit back and go, what's going on here? And you can feel it. In counselling, they say you can cut the tension with a knife, or you can feel it with a knife, the air or whatever. You know what term I'm talking about. And when he said it, I didn't even feel to say to him, no, I wasn't saying anything in a bad way, because you should have the common sense to know that anyway. So I wasn't even going to kind of give him that. You know what I mean? If to say like I'm coming across like I'm scared. I wasn't scared, I was disappointed. So after he said that, I suddenly switched, and I was like, alright then. And I think he crossed the road and went somewhere else, or I walked faster and just left him behind me. But it's good to be strong, and it's good to be defensive, but know how to kind of organize it and put it into its place. Now, the last thing I want to say to people, yes, collectively I have been making videos, and they're videos really about myself. My videos really about me, so that I can come back and because sometimes I've been in certain jobs where I'm around people, all day, as you would do in any job, and I start to pick up their habits, and I start to pick up, things that they say and things that they do start to rub off on me. And if it's really negative, or it's a different frequency, I find myself being broken down, and my mind frame starts to change. Okay, it's like being in a room with someone talking about I love killing cats. Yeah, man, I kill them, and yeah, man, watch them. I do things. Something which, and after a while, me honest, I keep listening to it. Or it could be, yeah, man, they're just bitches. You know what I mean? I just use them. You know what I mean? Ain't that shit? Bruv, the amount of bitches that I use. The other day, yeah, we run a train and some girl. She ain't nothing but a hoe, bruv. If you're listening to that, you listen to that, and you're nothing like that, it wears you down. So the purpose of my videos is that what they do is they re-strengthen me. They say, listen, Luke, this is what you're about. Don't let this stuff rub off on you. So my videos, if you want me to be 100% honest with you, and this is why I don't mind the fact that I only have 15 subscribers, is the fact that they're for me more than anything. It's for when I go into those environments and it starts to rub off on me. My videos bring me back to who I am and say, listen, Luke, this is who you are, and this is what you're about. And you're not going to sell yourself out and change, or be intimidated into being a sheep. You're a leader. And if you're not a leader, then you're able to stand on your own 2 feet. You don't need someone to tell you what to do, and you don't need to be dictating to other people what to do. Because who I am offline, I don't tell people what they should do offline, unless they're really close friends. And I'm not saying it in a way where you must do this. I'm saying, well, have you tried doing that? Because that may help. Because I've been in that situation before, and what I found is that when I tried this, it kind of helped me out. I'm not forcing it down your throat. And so yeah, so I hope that kind of clears up. My videos are more or less for me, but if other people learn from these things, then fair enough. And I do use the word bums and all those kind of things because I'm militant with myself. You know, I am militant. Um, my life has been extremely hard, and I remember when I was looked down upon in when my early teens, and I don't remember having a pat on the back, or you know, there was no safety net or harness, or what's the word? There was no there's another word for it, but basically, yeah, there was no safe haven for me. Um, so I had to learn to be strong, and I became my own self haven. And I had to be tough with myself to say, "Who don't do that? Only bums do that, or you're weak if you do that," and that kind of stuff. Because you know, I had to be tough in order to kind of push myself into being a stronger person. The last thing I want to say, just mention a few movies, guys. Just mention a few movies because sometimes we don't have role models around us and we don't know what role models are. But a few of mine came from movies. So I'm just going to say, watch a few characters in movies and maybe you can gain a little something from them. Not all of my characters were black. Some of them were white. You know, one of my characters, funny enough, was this video is going into over 20 minutes now. One of my characters, funny enough, was Superman. Yeah, when I was younger. But it was many people. And then, you know, this black brother was saying that it's funny that in it's either Superman or Spider-Man, where Spider-Man gets beaten up or something like that, and he's no longer on the scene, so the bad guys are running rampant. And he said that there's this black guy holding his kid, and the black guy, the father, holding his own child, looks up and goes, "Now that Spider-Man's here, who's gonna be a role model for our children?" And the black guy goes, "Imagine that. What coon is going to be in a movie holding up his own child and saying, now that Spider-Man's gone, who's going to be a role model for our own children?" But getting back to Superman, Superman is actually quite funny because now when I look back at it, Superman was basically an extremely weak guy that didn't have a backbone or spine, and he developed some sort of superhuman powers that made him a billion times more powerful than the average person, and then he went around bullying them, really, if you think about it. Yeah, he was a nice guy, but he was only able to reprimand bad guys because he was 1,000 times stronger than them. Superman is the worst character on earth you could ever look at, because when his powers were taken away from him, he didn't have a backbone or a spine. When he was in his normal glasses, even as Clark Kent, women could talk down to him and everything else. Superman's the last person. Right, some of the characters, real characters. Okay, this video is going to probably go up to 25 minutes. I'm going to start off with a white character, actually. Richard Gere in An Officer and a Gentleman. Always reminded me of me. Because everyone thought in the beginning, they wrote him off. His dad said, "You're a bum, you ain't going to make it to anything, son. You be an officer? Get out of it. You, son? Yeah, Dad, that's what I'm looking to do. I'm enrolling today." Son, you be an officer. So, his own, you know, not to say that I'm not going into my scenario, but I think at 15, that's how I felt, like the whole world was against me, and it was like, okay, I'll prove you wrong. An Officer, Gentleman, of Richard Gere. Watch his personality in it, and it is. And funny enough, when I watched it the other day, he wasn't the nicest guy. Richard Gere wasn't the most nicest guy in the movie. He was a bit kind of, again, self-guarded, sleazy. Only cared for himself. And then later on, he kind of develops, you know, a personality and becomes this nice guy. But a lot of us are like that. Getting back to the whole black thing, how black people are, and how we can be a bit kind of, you know, until you break down those walls, we're very kind of, he was a bit like that. Richard Gere, Officer and a Gentleman. I haven't actually written down the movies; they're just coming to me on the top of my head. Lawrence Fishburne, Always Outnumbered. Watch Always Outnumbered, Lawrence Fishburne. The epitome of a black role model or a black father. Again, he's in another movie, Lawrence Fishburne, Boys in the Hood. Again, the epitome of a black father. That's how we should be as black fathers. If you're talking about strength, and I ain't gonna become a sellout for no one, and and doing what needs to be done. Denzel Washington in Glory. Watch the movie Glory, and Denzel Washington's part in it. Because I was watching 12 Years a Slave, And yeah, it's a true depiction of what happened in real life, but it's not a he was more of a, he used his, in fact I can't even put the guy down because I think that's a lot, I can't put him down, which leads me to my next thing. Sorry, it's worked perfect. 12 years a slave. It's not every time that us as black people need to be doing all of this and physical strength and all of that. Like I've always said to people already, and it's not just black people, men in general, we are kings, especially black people. We're kings, right? We're kings. We don't always need to be doing this and walking around and all intimidating people and boy, I stab you up, and I'll fucking rip you to pieces, you little pussy, and walking them down the street and we don't always need to do that. That's not. I know the whole world's against us and everyone's trying to kill us and it doesn't seem that way to the rest of the world, but it generally is like that. Like everyone is targeting the black man, even our own. But it's not a battle that's always won with this, because Denzel Washington in what was the movie again, guys? Glory was this kind of character, but strong, and boy, and we don't always need to do that. Sometimes it's about a combination of both. And with 12 years a slave, what you had was a black man that was extremely intelligent, and he said, "Listen, I can't fight it this way. I can't. The system will win every single time. The only way I can fight it is by being educated or using my wit and my skill and my charm and all of those kind of things." And this ties in perfectly with the ending of this, because that's what it's about. In order to have those things, I wasn't very good at reading books. So what I would do is I would watch a lot of movies. If I heard a certain word, like the difference between apathy and not apathy, empathy, things like that. If someone used the term amoral, the other day this judge sentenced these two boys and said, "You are amoral and immoral," and I was like, amoral, immoral, I want to know what that means. And that's a perfect example. I'm watching this, I'm very good at watching things and observing it and having a mental picture in my head of what's going on. That's where my intelligence lies, okay? My intelligence is more visual. So I know that I have to learn visually, rather than just give up and say, well, boy, the teacher's being up. Teacher just holding me down. She don't want to help me do my work, innit, yeah? So you know what? Forget school, yeah? I don't need to learn. I can just, I don't need, the system just got me in a way where I don't, I just give up, yeah? I'll give up. And rather than be that way, there's, we all learn in different ways. You might learn visually. You may learn, some people visually, some people by articulating it to them, some people are book smart, some people hands-on. You teach them hands-on. We all have different learning. I think it's called learning styles. If you go into Google and type it in, we all have different learning styles. But with me, I became articulate not through books, because I've only read probably about 2-3 books in my whole life. When I heard certain things on TV, or if I was watching a movie and the guy said something, I was like, what does that mean? And what I would do then, because there wasn't even the internet. You kids are so damn lucky, you don't even know. There wasn't the internet at the time. So what I would do is I would get out my dictionary and say, what does amoral mean? What is amoral? Okay. That's what it means. That's the difference between immoral and amoral. Okay, right. And that's how I would learn. I would learn that way. So, I've heard a few people saying to me that I'm articulate and that I'm well spoken and this and that. Thank you. Thank you. I don't see myself that way, but thank you. But the point I'm trying to make to people is that it's not just about this, and listen, mate, you know what I do to you, bruv, yeah? Bruv, I will hurt you in such a bad way, You don't need to, because that's not always going to work. It's not always going to get you out of a jam. Sometimes you've got to learn to use this, especially how the system is set up for us. And that's pretty much all I want to end it with, is that that's pretty much all I want to end it with. Read books if you can, guys. Read books if you can. But those are a few movies to take on with men. I don't know so much about females. Can I think of a positive movie of a strong female? There's On the Blind Side with Sandra Bullock, where she helps the black guy. She was quite a good role model. Again, this is just off the top of my head. A black role model, female, one that pops to mind. Again, you'd have to give me some time, guys, to be honest with you. And it's not a thing where I only think of white female role models. There's black ones too. Um, it's been such a long time because let's face it, they're not banging them out like they are these white movies, are they? But that's the best thing I can think of for now. I'll probably put a few black female role models in the description, okay? But yeah, keep fighting, guys. Don't give up. Yeah, always fight. There's a movie called Always Outnumbered. Part one, Always Outnumbered. Part one, good movie. Always keep fighting and dream big. Peace.